Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Mr. J. This is W.A.D. MTG. It's been a little while since I talked to y'all. I've been working a lot, as per usual. I did upgrade my CEDH decks, and I've been fine tuning those and getting them into the metagame. Um, I've been trying to innovate my Thrasios Tevish deck. I've made some more changes to that, and I think I'm close to my final iteration of that deck. And it seems to be doing pretty well in the meta. I play with a large Discord group in the Detroit area, and that's doing great. But that's not why I wanted to do a video today. Obviously, over the last few days, there's been a lot of political discord, right, over the internet. And the people have been acting very disgusting and vile and celebrating the death and assassination of Charlie Kirk. Being how magic is a free space for everybody, I've always I'm Christian, so I always treat people the way I want to be treated. I treat others how, I would like to be treated, and I do subscribe to the teachings of Jesus Christ. I had my foundation in Christianity when I was young. I taught Sunday school, so I just believe that no matter who you are, you shouldn't celebrate violence. You shouldn't promote hate to other people. And years ago, magic was always a place for usually like dorks, right? But now it's a super inclusive place, and it's become very mainstream. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Mexican, rich, poor, a Democrat or a Republican. It doesn't matter what race, creed, color, religion, sexual preference you have. It's a place. I have lots of gay and trans friends that play Magic, and they've been very nice and welcoming to me. And as long as they're nice and welcoming to me, I'll be nice and welcoming to them, and I'll treat them with respect. And that's the way the world should be. But since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that's not the way it's been. We've seen a lot of ugly, right? We've seen a lot of political hate, spewing of radical ideology, celebrating laughter over the death of a Christian man who had a wife and kids. He was killed in front of thousands of people, and his wife and his kids were sitting in the front row. And we've got all these teachers, medical professionals, all these people getting fired for their jobs for speaking their mind on the internet. And it's not about free speech, right? Like, it's not a free speech issue here. This is not a free speech issue. Yeah, you're okay. You're free to speak your mind, but the left has been engaging in cancel culture for at least the last decade, if not more. And if you speak out against anything, like you say, you bring up your Christian values or your family values or conservative values, and the left has been radicalized. And it's ridiculous. Like, it's beyond ridiculous. And they say you either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Well, over the last few days, I think Brian Kibler has become the villain. I commented on his post, right, and several times, and it's led to a huge debate, right, where all these people are coming at me left, right, sideways, diagonal, and just saying the most hateful things, saying the most evil things. And the movement, Charlie Kirk became a martyr. So if you're a Christian, or you have family values or conservative values, it's our job now to step up and be a part of that movement. They want to call anybody who doesn't believe in the things that they believe in Nazis and fascists. Well, the real fascists are the people that will kill you for having a different opinion than them. They want to be the party of inclusivity and love and acceptance, but only if you share the same opinion as them. And I just believe, living out in California, that he has been, Brian Kibler has been completely radicalized. Now, he went on some of his posts to say he don't condone violence against anyone, but he's okay with the hate speech. He's okay with the rhetoric. He's okay with all of his base laughing at the assassination of a man who just loved his family. He loved God, And you know, he loved the United States and what we stand for. I was a soldier. So in this country, regardless of what your opinion is, as long as you live within the confines of the law, it doesn't matter. You have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The first thing there is life. Everybody has a right to live the way they want and be free. And even if you have a different opinion from mine, even if your views are fairly radical, I would, again, put my life on the line to fight for your right to do so. Whether it be, whether you're Arab, Muslim, Islamic, Jewish, black, white, Mexican, it doesn't matter. If you're gay or straight, trans, I would still fight for your right. I would still lay my life on the line again for your right to live however you want in the pursuit of your happiness, as long as it's within the confines of the law. But there is still a line that exists there, right? There's a line that exists between being a good person and celebrating somebody's death, laughing and joking about somebody's death. And that's what Brian Kibler is engaging himself in. He's posting publicly on social media platforms where other people can speak. And he's using his platform, his fame, to engage in this hateful rhetoric, to laugh, to demonize, to speak hateful things. He's not, he went on a big post, a big part of that post. You guys can check it out. I will post screenshots in the cover shot of this video and on my page. My community page. Now, I don't have a whole lot of subscribers. I'm not a famous Magic player, right? But he does. And he's using his platform, his fame and notoriety, to spew radical, hateful, violent rhetoric. You're gonna say you don't condone violence against anybody, but in the same breath, laugh about it. You're gonna say that you don't condone political violence, but you're not gonna speak out at your own base, your own followers, who are laughing about this, who are lying and posting hateful things. With the movement, it's I am Charlie Kirk, right? It's I am Charlie Kirk. So we got to stand up and fill his shoes. So I'm engaging in open debate using common sense, class, dignity, respect, biblical family values, and I'm using that to back up my opinion. And where they say, oh, well, he hated blacks and he hated gays, and like Stephen King said that he had to walk back. He advocated against killing gays and stoning them. No, the fuck he did not. If you're going to be radicalized, at least know what the fuck you're talking about. At least know what you're talking about. The laws of sex in the Bible is Leviticus chapter 18. The cherry-picked quote used by Stephen King and the leftists right now about how he advocated for stoning gays was Leviticus chapter 23. It says nothing about the laws of sex. It says nothing about homosexuality. That's chapter 18. And there's one verse in chapter 18. It says, a man shall not lie with a man like a man lies with a woman. That is detestable. That is wickedness. That's what it says. But it also goes on to say a whole laundry list of sexual sins, like sleeping with your neighbor's wife, sleeping with your brother's wife, sleeping with your mom, sleeping with your stepdaughter, sleeping with your cousin, your family, all this type of stuff. Even jerking off is a sexual sin in the eyes of God. It says in the Bible, it says it's better to spill your seed in the belly of a whore than to spill it on the ground. A sexual sin is a sexual sin, and we're all sinners, right? Nobody's perfect. There's only one person that ever walked the face of the earth that was, and that was Jesus himself, the only sinless man. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone, right? So this is the type of stuff I'm saying on these posts. And I even warned him. I said, you know, Brian, I've always liked you, man, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful. Look at it. And he's talking about people getting fired over their views. Well, they're getting fired for a reason. This isn't right cancel culture. This is accountability culture. You have the right to say whatever the fuck you want. By all means, say what you want. But there are consequences to everything you say and do. This man has, he even went on a long rant about how If people don't like his views, then he don't want to work with those companies. Well, let's show him. Let's show him. I personally am not going to report him to his sponsors, right? I ain't going to go on, tell Wizards or go, I forget, GameGenic or TCG Player, and go on a rant and send them emails about what he's posting. But his entire business, his entire model, his Commander at Home show, and Olivia's fame in the MTG space is connected to public opinion. He's got a platform because people like him. Well, it's hard to like somebody that laughs at the face of somebody else's death, that lets all his followers, and says nothing against it, lets all his followers call people who are Republican or conservatives or moderates or even libertarians. Even libertarians have came over to the right. And you're just going to let all your base talk radical propaganda on your public platform on Facebook, Blue Sky? I'm going to leave those posts. All right, it's going to be the cover of this video. It's going to be on my community page, just like where you pick the cards you like from the set or whatever. I'm going to post them screenshots up there. And, I've debated a dozen different people on that post. There's probably a good 40, 50 posts where I was coming at people and being like, I love people. I love everybody. That's our job, is to love people, to be accepting, to be patient, understanding, and have human empathy. You ever heard of that? Human empathy. It's a little thing that separates us from the animals. It doesn't take much to be a good person. It doesn't take much. But it says a whole lot, like Charlie Kirk says. You can tell a whole lot about a person by how they respond when somebody dies. And Kibler responded in a very, very shitty way. So, even though I only got 80 followers, 81 or something like that followers, subscribers, and my videos only get a handful of views, let the people who see my video, just a handful of people, see what Kibler had to say. And it's very, very hard for me to not say he's just a piece of shit. He's just an evil, disgusting person. You're going to say you don't advocate for political violence in one breath, and then spew hateful, radical rhetoric in the same breath, and lie about somebody, speak ill of the dead, and then try to defend your stance like you have a right to say terrible things about a good Christian man who just loved his family and the government and the United States and what our country stands for. And you're going to talk about him like he's a piece of shit, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it. The world is so fucked up, man. How can you encourage people to do something like that? Engage in that type of activity and that type of hate speech and rhetoric and radical propaganda, and encourage that your followers engage in it too, and have that kind of fame and that kind of platform. I think it's time to cancel Brian Kibler. That's it. I'm Mr. J. This is W.A.D. MTG. I'm out, y'all. Peace.